Cyprus now has come out with a new residency by investment program. As you know, they gave up their citizenship by investment program and they made some changes on their residency by investment program. And actually, I'll be honest with you, I think it's probably the best one in the world next to St. Kitts. Most people are not familiar with St. Kitts' residency by investment, not citizenship by investment, but residency by investment program. I do like St. Kitts' better because St. Kitts checks all the boxes out there. Cyprus almost does. They come really close. They've got a non-dom program where you can literally bring money into the country. You're taxed on it, but if you leave it outside, you're not taxed on it for a 17-year period. Basically, the way it works is foreigners who decide to move their personal tax residency to Cyprus will automatically be considered as non-domiciled in Cyprus for a maximum period of 17 years. Now, that's a good benefit that you have there. And the weather's there is real nice. It's an English-speaking country. You don't have a language test you got to take. With the one with Bulgaria, that was the problem with that, is you had to take a test. And Bulgaria is not an easy language to learn. And now Cyprus does have pretty good visa-free travel. They've actually got better than St. Kitts does. You're looking at, right now, there's 176 countries and territories that you can travel to, either visa-free or visa-free on arrival. St. Kitts is 162, but now you would have to look at the difference between those two countries on their visa-free countries, on the difference, and really see, is it really going to make that big difference with those countries, you know? But the great thing about St. Kitts doesn't have an income tax inside or outside the country. Cyprus has a heavy tax if you have a business inside the country, up to around 35%. I'm going to go over some details with you on that in just a second. But like I said, if you have your business outside of Cyprus, you can live there totally tax-free up to 17 years. Okay. Now, they could change the law on that, though. That's the thing. It could be to the positive, it could be negative, but they might extend it out beyond 17 years. Okay. Ireland doesn't have any termination period on their non-dom program, but now they've ended that residency program they had. The weather there is really bad. I would rate this probably better than Ireland due to the fact that the threshold to get in, the weather's better. The only thing I don't like about this program is a big gotcha, okay, is the military requirements, okay? I'm going to go over that with you here in a minute. So if you got kids and stuff, this is something you might want to think about. Although Cyprus is a pretty neutral country, they're not like the U.S. where they just try to bully everybody. They're in wars every friggin' year, okay? But, I mean, that is something that you're going to have to think about. St. Kitts doesn't have any military requirements. They're never in any wars. In fact, most people don't even know they exist. That's one thing I like about St. Kitts. They just stay out of everybody's business, you know. They don't piss anybody off. And I really like that. And there's no income tax, no capital gains tax, no estate tax, no inheritance tax. St. Kitts just has all the box checked, you know. But if you're wanting something after, maybe you get a fast-track program with St. Kitts and you want a residency by investment, let's say you're going to relinquish your U.S. citizenship, you want a fast-track program with St. Kitts, and then you want another passport, I would probably say I would pick maybe Cyprus ahead of the other ones, okay? Now, St. Kitts does, again, like I said, they do have a residency by investment program, but you're going to have to reside in St. Kitts 14 years before you can apply for the passport. There's no investment requirement. They really have, I think, the best residency by investment program in the world. You could literally come here and just start a business and put no money in the system and have no income tax, no capital gains tax, no estate tax. It's probably the most hidden secret out there today. And I've had so many people wanting to know more about it because even if they do a Google search, they won't pull up anything on the residency by investment program unless they pull up stuff I've got. No one has done anything on the residency by investment program. It's incredible how hidden, why the government doesn't push their residency by investment program, I don't know. Anyway, let me get back here on Cyprus. Cyprus does have, you know, like I said, you're looking at 176 visa-free or visa-free on arrival countries and territories they can go to. With St. Kitts, it's 162, but of course St. Kitts doesn't have any military requirements, no income tax, no capital gains tax, no estate tax, no inheritance tax. It's English speaking. Everybody in St. Kitts speaks English. Cyprus, you will have some people that can't speak English, although most people, I think, do speak English over there, or at least enough where you can get by on. The only thing that I don't like also too is if Cyprus comes out, or the EU comes out with a mandatory with all their member countries that they're going to tax based on worldwide income if you're a citizen, okay, and you get citizenship there, okay, because literally you can go to Cyprus for 5 years, live there, and apply for the passport, and and get it, and there's no language requirement for that. Now, this is the big thing that I do like about that. Now, let me go over this with the military requirements. The obligation commences in the year the person becomes 18 and continues in the year of his 50th birthday. All those who are not Cypriot citizens but are of Cypriot descent, even if they had not required a Cypriot citizenship, were born in 1960 or after and reside in the Republic, are obligated to do military service. So this is something you might want to consider for your kids, and also if you got grandkids that that come along too. And so it's not just for citizens. If you're residing there. So this is something that you might want to think about big, because a lot of people, especially a lot of libertarians, don't like that, but that's something that you can consider there. Now, let me go over a couple of things with you on the actual program and how it works. Now, Cyprus sets restrictions on their residency by investment program, and they're raising now the minimum income requirements. In other words, before all you had to do is buy a property. Now you have to buy a property, and you're going to have to show income, and you're going to have to prove it every year. It's not like you showed it and then you got residency. You're going to have to pull it up every year and show proof. Okay, that's kind of a negative, but I mean, it's not a big negative. Also, folks, if you want to legally get around high income taxes or how to get a second passport as quick as 60 days, do 3 things. Hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here, and you get new videos automatically as they come out. And number 2 is I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. And if you want more information on taxes and how to get a passport quick, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and just ask for some help. Okay, now, Cyprus, of course, it's an EU island nation, and it's announced a number of new regulations pertaining to foreigners seeking permanent residency in the country through investment. Now, the announcement was made just this past Friday, April the 21st, 2023, after the Interior Ministry's request to revise immigration regulations for residency investors was accepted by the Council of Ministers, set to come into effect on May the 2nd, 2023. All right, now let's go over what the changes to Cyprus residency by investment are. Now, one thing too, folks, if you're looking for a pure tax, if you're looking for citizenship, I would advise you to go with a pure tax haven first, especially if you're relinquishing your U.S. citizenship. This way, if you've got to have a business inside or outside the country, you can live basically tax-free in St. Kitts. If you don't want to live in St. Kitts, you want to go to another country, this is an option, but I think you ought to have a pure tax haven status country in the back burner. And I'll tell you another reason why. When you go to a place like Cyprus, a lot of countries bar people out of certain business opportunities until you get citizenship. All right, now you're going to have to wait 5 years before you apply for the passport and residency in Cyprus. So if you've got some sort of business, Cyprus might not let you do that locally. Now, if you do a business outside the country, that's different, okay? And that's one way you can get around that. Like if you set up a lease company, you live in Cyprus, but your business is done outside. And also, too, if you do anything inside the country, they're going to tax the daylights out of you, so you really don't want to do that. But anyway, let's go over the changes that was made there. Now, while the investment threshold remains unchanged at 300,000 euros, the minimum income requirement has been hiked from 30,000 euros per year to 50,000 euros for the main applicant. For spouses, an additional 15,000 income needs to be approved, and an extra 10,000 for each minor. And of course, this is in euros. Now, the 50,000 euros secured annual income is set as a safeguard because there was the previous defined annual income was considered not satisfactory and making the program a high risk in international efforts to fight tax evasion. I mean, this is a kind of a crazy excuse for that, but anyway. They went on to talk about that the investors who acquire the Cypriot permanent residency by investment will now be required to produce evidence on an annual basis showcasing that they continue to maintain their investments and that their income remains above the threshold. Failure to provide such evidence will result in the termination of the residency for the applicant and their dependents. Now, parents-in-law and adult children will no longer qualify as dependents for permanent residency applications per the new regulations. Now, the changes are meant to revise the existing policy of the Ministry of the Interior, which aim to stimulate the real estate market, but also more broadly the economy was taken because it had become clear that certain provisions needed reevaluation. And so they started to make these changes. Now, among the changes announced by the government on April the 27th, 2023 is that while the investment threshold would remain the same at 300,000 euros, it now must be paid in full before initiating a visa application, regardless of the real estate project delivery status. Now, also, the funds must be directly deposited from the main applicant's account or their applicants or their spouses if they are included as dependents. Now, there's stricter criteria are seen in a good light by local industry professionals. They went on to say that they believe that every country is entitled to alter, change its rules regarding internal immigration policy, especially when the country is not part of the Schengen, and the changes of the stricter criteria are always welcome to make a program more popular with less scrutiny. Now, more restrictions are becoming more widespread in the EU. As you know, a lot of these fast-track programs have been cut out. In fact, Malta now is fighting on theirs to try to keep it. But as golden visa programs expand elsewhere, the EU is seeing increasing restrictions placed on many of its programs. Recently, of course, Portugal and Ireland moved to end their programs altogether, and then Greece doubled the investment threshold in certain areas to protect the real estate market from inflated prices. Now, I've always thought that the Greece program was not real good because you would have to pay taxes up to because Greece does tax your worldwide income, and you're going to have to live there in Greece to actually get that passport, and you're going to have to speak the you're going to have to pass a Greek test, which is pretty difficult to do. But also, EU legislators are pressuring member countries to apply stricter due diligence on the residency programs and are calling for an end of the citizenship programs altogether, evident in the EU Parliament taking Malta to the EU Court to force to end their program. Now, Cyprus also had, as I mentioned before, a popular citizenship by investment program that concluded in 2020 after global media reports alleged it with rife with corruption, and Cyprus has since revoked multiple citizenships granted under the program. If you want to know more on the Cyprus program, we'll be glad to work with you. We also deal with over 100 different countries on citizenship by investment and residency by investment all over the world. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. And don't forget, hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here, and you get new videos automatically as they come out. And again, our website's www.citizenshipquickly.com if you want to ask for help. And I look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.